My name is Ben Strege, and I am addicted to the Boundary Waters. I've been canoeing since I was 12 when my dad first took me. And since then, I have gone on over 60 trips. And on all of my trips, I have asked one very important question. And that is, how long will it take to get there? Slide. So I asked my dad that question when I was 12. My kids ask me that all the time, although usually it's phrased as, are we there yet? When I was a teenager, I asked the question out of curiosity since I was just one of the sheep in the group. But as I transitioned into leading trips, it became increasingly vital that I find the answer to this question before we hit the water. And it is important to at least have a general idea of the travel time to your destination for both your safety and your enjoyment. You don't want to bite off more than you can chew. That's a safety issue and definitely an enjoyment issue as well. Next slide. It seems like a simple question, but it's not. If you search Facebook groups and the myriad of paddling forums out there, everyone is asking the same question. How long will it take to get to fill in the name of the lake? Mullberg, Cummings, Lac Croix, you name it. The answers are not simple. They usually say something like, we got there in 3 hours, but if you're a beginner, it'll take longer. Or it took us 5 hours, but we fished along the way. Now, why are these answers so complicated? Well, there are many factors that determine how long it'll take you to get to that special lake or campsite. And first, we have to break our travel time into two different types. We travel on the water and we also portage. So that's one of the unique things about the Boundary Waters is we get to both hike and paddle at the same time. So we have to figure out how long are we going to be on the water. I've figured out that average paddlers go about 3 miles per hour, but I have gone with beginners, my family, youth groups. They generally are slower. Experienced paddlers could be faster, but it depends on your style. Maybe you're just taking your time. You also have to figure out, do you zigzag down the lake? You could be going very fast, but not getting very far. Slide. Portaging is actually even more difficult to determine, get an accurate feel for how long it's going to take you. And it's more than just the hiking speed. We have to figure in the time that it takes to unload and reload the canoes. Are you going to take any breaks across the portage? And finally, how many trips across the portage are you going to take? And double portaging is actually 3 trips across the portage, not 2. So most people double portage. And so they think, well, I double the time on the portage. Actually, you have to triple it because you take your first load across, then you have to go back for the second load, and then you grab the second load and go back across the portage again. So that's 3 times across. All right, next slide. After you have determined all of these variables, now get out your map, string, ruler, and paper, and spend hours doing the calculations. This is how I started out doing the calculations, and I got tired and frustrated of spending the hours I needed to do to figure it out. And I thought there must be an easier way, like Google directions for the Boundary Waters. And I spent months searching for some solution that didn't require me taking out my maps and my string. And after months of searching, I couldn't find anything. So I figured I had to do it myself, and hence was born Paddle Planner. While you can do a lot of things on Paddle Planner, it was specifically built to answer this one question. How long does it take me to get to that lake? I'm now going to show you how to use Paddle Planner. And many of the things I'm going to show you can be done for free. Some of the things you'll need to upgrade your account. And I'll tell you if the feature I'm showing you is free or an upgraded one as well. All right, I am going to share my screen here. All right, thank you. All right, there we go. All right, so here is the home screen of Paddle Planner. And to get to our main maps, we're going to click on Build a Route. And the one we're concerned with today is the boundary waters, though, as you can see, there are a lot of different areas that we cover. All right, so here's our main map. So this is the boundary waters down here, the Quetico up here, and Voyageurs National Park. We're going to focus on the boundary waters today, but they are all special areas. I am just going to change a couple of settings to make it look a little bit nicer right now. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the photos. A lot of people have added photos, and some people think it clutters up the map, and some people really like seeing the photos. We'll explore the photos later, but for now we'll shut them off. And I'm also going to change the background to one that I like a little bit more. Okay, and finally, I'm going to change this to full screen. The full screen is an upgraded option, so you need to upgrade your account for this. But I think it'll make it easier for me to show you what this does today. All right, and I'm going to start at Cowish Lake. This was my very first Boundary Waters trip. And I'm just going to click on the entry point and click on the place I want to go. We stayed at this campsite right there. And it tells me approximately how long it's going to take me to get there. And it's 6 hours and 38 minutes. Now you might say, well, what about all of those factors that you just told me about? You know, paddling speed, not everyone's the same, portaging, and what if I'm double portaging or single portaging or whatever it is? You know, what about all of those things? Well, the defaults built in here are the 3 miles per hour for the average paddler and double portaging. However, you can customize that. So I'm just going to click down here, and we can change this to a beginner speed. So it's either a beginner or you're taking your time, one or the other. And you can see it updated my total time right there. And what if you say, well, I single portage instead of double portage? Well, let's just change the portage trips to single. And you can see that it updates the time there as well. So it went from 8 hours to 6 hours. So single portaging saved us a ton of time. All right, you can also, if none of these things fit you, you can change the custom speed. And one thing that we often do is the default is 10 minutes to unload and reload the canoes. If it takes you longer or shorter, you can change that as well. And I'll change it to 15 minutes at each portage. Maybe you take a short break at the end or whatever it happens to be. You just take 15 minutes at the beginning and end of portages. And it will, as you can see, update the time there. All right, what if I want to change or change where this is going? So for example, I got the wrong lake. I can either drag this to where I want it to go, and then it will recalculate here pretty soon. There it goes. And the other way of doing it is deleting the point and then re-entering the point. So I'll just right click to delete it. The other way to delete it is to click on the delete button up here. So right clicking will delete that, and I'll just put it back into where I originally had it there. You can see a detailed calculation results if you're interested in that kind of stuff. How did we come up with all of these things? And I just click down here and it opens up my detailed screen here where it breaks it down between the paddling time and portaging time and loading and unloading time. You can see that the 15 minutes per portage adds 2 hours onto our travel time. Another thing that a lot of people are very interested in is sharing this map with their trip mates or whoever it happens to be. And this is what Jason sends to his customers when asking about a route, is that he will go up here and press share, and it gives you a URL that you can just plug into an email or something. And I'll just do that right now. And it will load up the exact screen that you were seeing. If it actually ever loads here. Looks like my browser is being a little slow. There it goes. Okay, so you can see that you can send this this in an email or however you want to get it to your trip mates or whoever you want to send it to, that they can see the exact same thing that you did. All right, let's get back here. All right, the other thing, what if I want to start over? I can press the clear map button up here. Okay, pretty much everything I just showed you, except for the full screen part, you can do that for free. So the calculating from one point to one other point, sharing the map, all of that is free. If you want to do a bit more of a complicated route, and this is probably what Jason would send you, is a little bit more complicated route, maybe with a little loop in it or showing you the days or something like that. That you will have to upgrade for, but this is how you would do that. So you click on your beginning point. So again, we're starting at the entry point there. Let's say I want to spend my first day on Malberg. So I just calculate that one. And then notice I have this day end button up here. I'll mark that as the end of my day. That's where I'm planning on camping. Caveat to that though, as Jason mentioned, campsites are first come, first serve. So just because you clicked on this campsite in Paddle Planner doesn't mean you get that campsite. So next day I might plan on going to Trail Lake. So I'll click on that one. I'll mark that one as where I'm camping. And then I might go to Wine Lake, which is a very nice lake as well. I've camped there. I've also gone down to Alton down here. And so again, as I keep marking on here, I say whether I am planning on camping there. So I might then loop back through the Lady Chain here, stay on Hazel Lake. Next day, plan on trying to get back to my entry point, stay on Kawasachang, and then back to the entry point where I'll have to use the go home button because if I click on this, it will just select that point. But if I press go home, it will route me back to the beginning. All right, so here I have a lot more complicated route. The great thing about this, I don't know if you noticed it as I was putting this together, that for each day, it'll tell me down here what I'm working on. So day 2 was 4 hours. Day 3 was 4.5 hours. I can get a detailed breakdown of the days if I just click down here and it brings up each day and approximately how long it's going to take me to do each of those legs. All right, the great thing about doing this, and this is where I was getting frustrated when I was trying to use my paper maps all the time, trying to figure out all of this stuff, was, well, now I figured out this route. Well, what if I decided to double portage or single portage? Then I have to go through all the calculations again. What's great about this is I can just change my speed here to average. And now it just recalculates everything. It's going to take a couple of seconds since this is a long route, but a couple seconds is a lot faster than a few hours to figure it out. So now I have all my updated calculations based on my new inputs. All right, so again, those more complicated routes with the day breakdowns, that is an upgraded feature there. All right, so I am going to clear this and show you, this is probably my favorite feature. I don't think it's that well known though. And this is the, I call it the travel time assistant. That didn't fit down here, so I just put find area. And let's say you're planning a week-long trip and you want to limit your travel time every day to 3 or 4 hours. So let's change this to 4 hours and turn this guide on. And I'm going to click on the entry point, and it's going to highlight for me everything based on my, again, my travel time, you know, my speed and my portage trips and everything. All locations that should be more or less within 4 hours of where I last clicked. So then I start at the entry point, 4 hours, I could probably get to Coma. So I'll click on that one. And then Coma for the next, I might mark that as the end of the day. And then I can see where I can get to within 4 hours from Coma Lake. And I say, okay, well, let's go up to Makwa. I'll mark that as the end of my day. And here you can, so you can keep going here, and it just keeps updating based on your last point that you have clicked, what is, you know, within my default travel time. So within 4 hours of that point. Again, you can change this to whatever you want, but however far you want the day to be. All right, so I'm going to turn that off to bring back the entire map. And I will clear the map again. So that is probably my number one favorite feature. Again, maybe a lesser used feature, but I love that one. All right, a couple of other things here. A lot of people like downloading GPX files. So I might, and I was guiding a trip and they didn't know I had created this, and I saw them with their phone, and they had their phone app out and it had a route on it. And I asked them, so where did you get that? And they said, Paddle Planner. And I said, oh, well, guess what? I created that one. So you can download a GPX file. This is an upgraded feature as well, to download the GPX file that you can put on your phone or GPS. Another thing that I like doing is downloading screenshots, and this is another upgraded feature where you can put export a map to an image that you can print out to a paper. Word of caution here, I have never expected Paddle Planner to take the place of good waterproof commercial maps like Mackenzie. I know Jason uses Mackenzie maps, and actually I just made a deal with Mackenzie as well, which I'll be announcing pretty soon. So we're partnering with Mackenzie Maps to provide some, real waterproof commercial maps, high quality commercial maps. However, with these screenshots, I do like showing, a lot of people like knowing where the good campsites are. So you can print those out as well here. Looks like I need to fix something, but I'll get to that. All right, so just a couple of other things. I showed you all of the routing. As I mentioned, though, that's not the only thing Paddle Planner does. Explore mode is mostly free. That just means you get to view. So I change it to explore mode up here and click on a campsite. It brings up photos that people have uploaded. So for example, this campsite, someone's uploaded these photos of that campsite, along with all of their comments on it and what they rated it. You'll notice that the ratings for campsites are all over the board, but it does give you an idea of, will this campsite work for me and my group? Same with portages. You can click on a portage and see photos if there are any, also maybe an elevation chart if you want to see that. Another thing that people really like is I mentioned the commercial maps. Now let's click on a place, and notice down here I had to show the map info down here, but that brings up this little bar that shows me, well, if I click on this spot right here, that spot is covered by the Fisher F5 map, the Voyager 8 map. I can zoom out here to show you. The Mackenzie 20, the True North, Boundary Waters 10. So it gives you an idea of which commercial maps cover that area. All right, final thing that I do want to show you, Jason mentioned that permits are, well, they are pretty much gone, sold out. Well, there's still permits available. It's just maybe the places you're looking to go aren't available. This is a newer feature on Paddle Planner that I am pulling now the permit data from recreation.gov and displaying it here. So if you're in Explore mode and click on an entry point, you'll get something down here that shows the permits here. I can change that date that default shows up by clicking up here. But if I click down here, I can see the entire summer. Little Indian Sioux River North, as you can see, it is pretty much completely booked the entire summer. So from May 10th through September 17th, there are 0 permits available. I've noticed, and I've never seen that before in my life, where an entry point is entirely gone for the entire summer. So you can explore that sort of stuff here. So Slim Lake looks like it's a little bit more available than maybe those more popular ones. Newer feature in Paddle Planner, in fact, I think I just put it in 2 weeks ago, is, well, let's say I missed out on my permit. And I can click on here and it will bring up this, I can create a permit alert, and that will, what that will do for me is it will send me a message and an email if that permit ever opens up. I check the permits every 30 minutes. And so you'll get a message like this, both on Paddle Planner that says, great news, your permit opened up. We advise you to reserve it now because it might not stay available. And the email would look something like this. All right. And I also want to mention, I think Megan mentioned that hiking trails, that there are hiking trails in the Boundary Waters. And I'll just say that Paddle Planner does work for hiking trails as well. You do have to be careful though that it's set to single portaging, because double portaging would mean you're hiking the trail 3 times. So just a word of caution there. All right, I have some other words of caution before I am done here on using Paddle Planner and other tools to do this stuff. All right, here we go. First of all, these are estimates. They are not exact. And so keep that in mind that, you know, you're probably not traveling at a specified speed all the time. So it is an estimate, it's not exact. Need to build in some breaks. So the time that, whether you're using your calculations or you're using Paddle Planner to figure out the times, remember that's moving time. You're probably not moving constantly. So when I say I'm going for 3 hours per day, that's 3 hours of moving time. I might be taking a 5 or 10 minute break every hour. All right, so, and finally, time does not equal effort. And so I think, was it Jason that mentioned that starting out your trip with a 2-mile portage, you're going to be pretty wiped out after that portage. So generally speaking, routes with more portages take more effort than routes with just paddling.